Hello everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel today. My name is Daryl. We are in the shop again today. In the last video we mounted a rotor and the rotor plate, and today we're going to mount the thrust bearing on the very top section of the tower, and after that we'll put the rest of the tower together and then we'll be ready to raise this thing up. So I'm really excited about that. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what we're going to do today. Alrighty, as you see here, we have the thrust bearing that goes at the very top of the tower. And I'll take this piece of wood off of here. They use this kind of a bushing, and we'll mount this thing to this metal plate here. So the first step is to remove this part, this thing here, and get it out of our way, and then take this plate off. I might just take the plate off and then remove that wood, and then we'll mount our bearing. So let me set a camera up and we'll get moving on this. Alright, we're going to use a little power tool here and see if we can get these bolts out of here. It looks like this is a 3/4 inch bolt socket actually. The first one not too bad. I figured that was going to be the case here. Thing's spinning around, so I don't know what I'll do about that. That one came right out. That one came right off. This one looks like the wood is pretty punky there. I'll have to come up with some other idea here. What can I do? I got a little bit of an idea, but I don't know if it'll work or not. So let me stop the camera and I'll see if my idea works. Okay, what my plan is to take a couple of these screws and screw them in on the other side of either side of this or near it, and see if I can hold that enough to be able to get it loose. I don't know if it's going to work. It's just an idea. And we'll see what happens. And the answer to that seems to be no. Let's see if I can crank them down a little bit more. The wood is just really punky there. Good. Huh. Bummer. Well, I got one other idea, and that's to just knock this wood out of here and chisel it out of there, and then I can get out with a different tool. There's always more ways to do it than you think. Ooh, that's pretty hot. So let's go get a hammer or a chisel or something and knock that wood out of there. Pretty easy. Aha! That. Now I can get something on that. Alright. Let's see if we can get it off now. So our next step is to remove this plate, and we'll take it over to the bench. So let me clean up my work area here, and then we'll get back to work. I'm going to put a little WD-40 on these. See if they'll come off a little bit better. The other ones on the top section of the towel came out alright. But I should have put a little bit of lube on those too, and I didn't. There's one. It looks like it's going to come off pretty easy. There's two. That WD-40 looked really good. Look at that. It's coming off real easy. Alright, let's take this thing over to the bench, and we'll see if we can get this thrust bearing mounted. Alright, we're going to clean this up a little bit. Looks like it has quite a bit of corrosion underneath where that wood was, because that wood was getting wet, of course, and holding water. And I was really working on this with the metal. It's not horrible, and like I said in the other video, I can replace this if I have to. It's not a big deal, but I think this is fine. After I drill the holes and get this thing mounted, I'll probably take it back off and maybe put a little paint up there to try to slow down this corrosion. So, yeah, it happens. I don't know why he did not, the previous owner did not put a thrust bearing at the top like I'm doing. For those of you who don't know what this thrust bearing does, is you have, say you have your antenna, and you have your mast, and then you have your rotor down here that turns it. Well, when you have all this weight, the mast plus the antennas, that's pushing down a lot on your rotor, and it's not good on the rotor itself and the bearings. So you put something like this up here, and this will have some bolts in it, and this will your thrust bearing, say if this is the antenna, your thrust bearing will be mounted here and hold the weight. So if you took your rotor out from under, or rotor out from underneath it, it would be holding the weight of this whole antenna array. So we want to make sure we get that in here. Now he just had like a couple of pieces of wood on this, piece of wood on this plate, and on the other plate the same. So his rotor was down here and it was not being supported, so you get a lot of movement, and his rotor was taking all the weight and abuse of this thing moving around in the wind. So we want to eliminate that, so we'll mount this here, and then when we put our mast in there, this will clamp down to the mast, and it will hold the weight of this whole antenna array. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll mount this thing first, and then all I got to do is get it in the center here. So I need to get this thing mounted in the center, and then so I'll probably try to find a place in the center here where there's no holes already, and then as long as this is in the center, I can just flip it over and mount it. So I don't, it looks like it's not near any holes. So I think I should be good with where I have it now. So I'll just make sure I have it in the middle best I can. It looks pretty good right there. And then, if I can, I'll just flip it over. That, and then I can mark my holes. So, yeah, that looks good. I like it there. So let me get my marker, and we'll mark the hole locations. And it looks like it's fairly centered. I don't know that his block was that centered. It looks good from down here. So that's where we're going to mount it. I might just turn these just a little bit. And maybe I'll flip it over one more time and just have a look at it. Oop, I moved it. Jeez. Alright, looks good there. I'll just kind of give it a little bit of a turn. Alright, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. I'm sure it'll be just fine as long as I'm close. So I mark my little circles, and then I'll take a little punch and punch the center, and I'll drill it out. It's not a big, not a whole lot of work on this one. Not like the doing the router plate. Alright, I'll get some clamps, we'll clamp it down, and we will drill it out. Pays to have sharp bits. Alright, one more. Alright. Alrighty, let's measure this. Measure the bolt, one of the bolts in this pack here, and kind of get an idea of what size drill bit I'll need. see what I got. I don't know if I got anything that'll fit this or not. So let's kind of see what I got here. I don't know if I got something that'll fit that or not. Well, I'll leave the last one, I guess, if it comes out. Oh yeah. Just double check here. Let's turn it on and actually see what it measures. About half an inch. What's this say? Yeah, half inch. Okay. Alright. So instead of just trying to go from this bit here and go right to a half inch, I'm going to drill it out a couple more sizes, just a little at a time, and see if I can, not have a big problem with it. Instead of trying to just drill it all out a half inch. If I move this just a little more, I can do 2 of these. I don't know why I didn't see that before. I need that half inch. Alright, let me stop the show and I'll sharpen this bit. Alright, I sharpened this bit, so let's see what it does now. Alright, there you go. Well, will it make it through the other ones? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Alright, let's go back to our other sizes of bits again. I don't know if it's just because I'm trying to step up too big or what. If this bit's really that bad, even after I sharpened it. Alright. Got all of it. So, let me wipe this off. Now I'll clean up my work area so I don't get a metal sliver in my hand or leg or anywhere else. And then I'll come back and we'll mount this to the plate. Alright, I think I decided to mount the bearing on the good side, and then I'll put a little paint down here and try to stop the corrosion that's going on. And I'll just mount this on this side of it. Alright, so I'm going to put everything in the way it's supposed to go, but I'm going to take it back off when I'm done, because the tower is going to be laying on its side out there for a little bit until my climber is ready to lift the tower up into place. So I'm afraid that having this thrust bearing laying on its side, it will allow water to get up underneath here and then start working on the bearings and rust them out. So I don't want that to happen, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to dry fit it together, make sure everything fits right and looks right. And then when I get the mast, I will dry fit everything together, not dry fit, but just fit everything together and make sure that everything is going to work right. And then I'll take everything back off until maybe the day before we put it up. If there's not going to be any rain, I'll put it back on and get everything set. I'm not sure whether we're going to raise the tower with the antenna. The antenna's on it already, or what's going to happen there. That's up to the guy who's going to do the climbing work. Oh, there's a little bit of metal in that thread. I deburred it. We had deburred the hose off camera. Back here. I want to try to screw it in with that in there. Oh man, that thing's really in there. So we'll just dry fit this in here and just see what it looks like. Huh, well come on, what's going on here? Huh, this one's not doing well. Pull that back out. Maybe you didn't like that. The hole's just a little bit out of alignment. I don't know why. Yeah. Let me go work on this thread a little bit, and I'll run a tap over it, or a dime, sorry, and straighten that out. Okay, I ran this die over it and was able to get it screwed in. So I just used the socket to just kind of snug them down. Like I said, I'm going to take this back off again anyway. So I just want to make sure everything fits right. So let's move the camera around and we'll go install this baby on the tower section. The plate I'll leave on, but the thrust bearing I'll remove. It's not sitting out in the weather. Well, it looks like I got it going in the wrong way here. Because like the other one, the holes weren't drilled in the proper position. So I'll just have to play a game here and take it out and move around until all the holes match up. Try this way. Let's see what we got here. Let's just put all the bolts in. That should be enough. Yeah, let's go roll off. Okay. Alright. Try it again. I don't know which direction I went. So, try this one. One. Maybe. No. Okay. Which direction am I going? Does anybody know? I wasn't paying attention. Let's go counterclockwise. Let's go counterclockwise. That's still off. Let's see. I'll hold it up maybe. Alright. Is anybody having fun? I'm not. Right. I've gone to all three directions. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Alright, so the plate, I can lock it, I can screw it down tight. But the bearing, like I said, I'm not going to leave that out in the weather. I'm afraid if I leave it out in the weather, laying on its side, that rain will come down and infiltrate the bearing race down there. So I don't want that to happen. Alright, look at that. Okay, so everything's on there. This one here, I think I'm just going to leave. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. This one here, I think I'm just going to leave on. It's not as rotten, but if I do have time and I can find a piece of pressure treated wood, I might make a new one to put on there. But what would be nice about it is this is the top of the tower, and then the mast will go through these two and then on to the other section of the tower we worked on and go into the rotor. And if for some reason you have to replace the rotor or work on the rotor, you can move this, you can take it loose from the I was going to say router, I don't know, rotor, and it won't allow the mast to flop around on you. So you can get it up there and then lock it back down and not have it flopping around on you. But the biggest challenge of yesterday and today was not saying router and saying rotor. So if that's the worst that can happen, you know, I got no problems with that. So, so we got the two things that we needed to do to get these two sections on the tower. So the next video we'll do that. So. Okay, we got done what we needed to get done. This thrust bearing is mounted on the top section of the tower. Now I'll drag these two pieces out and we'll put these on the tower. And then I need to get my mast and do a dry fit with that and get the rotor back on there and dry fit everything and make sure everything's working properly. Then I'll remove those things. I believe the day that we raise it, we're at least going to have those things on it, and maybe not the antennas, but everything else. We'll see, and we'll go from there. So the next time you see me, we'll be putting these two pieces of tower on, and then we got an antenna to put together. So let's just call it quits here for today. And I just want to say thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. And I'm just starting out, so I don't know how exciting it is for everybody, but I'm having a good time. But thank you for being here today, and hope to see you back again soon. And have a good day.